Yep.
So with that, looks like we're on time.
Your computer is a little slow. Maybe it's on Southern time or something.
Maybe.
Uh-oh.
All right. I'll open the meeting for Monday, August 10th, 2020 at 6:32 p.m. We'll start with the roll call attendance. Sean Farrell is here. Rosie, are you here? Jamie?
Jamie Knutson here.
Bill?
William Olson here.
And Darcy.
Darcy Dale here.
All right, and now we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so we have a handful of board and committee openings tonight. One for the Council on Aging, one for the Hamilton Historic District Commission. Are there two for that, Joe? It says openings. Is there two or one? Filling one tonight?
For the Historic District Commission, I believe there is one opening left to fill for former chairperson, I believe. Everybody else, I think the rest of the committee for the Historic District Commission is seated. They added Mary Green some time ago, so
Okay.
that should get you minus one person in that committee.
And then the last opening is for a CPC Community Preservation Committee opening. And we'll start with Selectman Town Manager reports. Rosie, do you have anything to add tonight for a Selectman report?
Yes, just a couple of things. The first thing wanted to talk about was that I listened in on the school committee's meeting this afternoon, which was very interesting, and I think more to come with that. The second thing is I wanted to give a shout out to the DPW and their contractor for the most excellent work replacing the sidewalk on Linden Street. I see people on the sidewalk and kids riding their bike on the sidewalks now instead of on the street, which has become a very busy street. So that is just fabulous. They did a great job. And then the third thing is, I'm sure Darcy will have something to add to this, but Darcy and I attended our first meeting as Town Hall Building Committee members. They voted us in as members. The meeting, I don't remember the date, last week or the week before. I apologize for that, but I wanted to just comment on what a boatload of work that Town Hall Building Committee has done. They've done a phenomenal job. And then finally, regarding the funding for the new town hall, for the town hall renovation, there was a question as to whether we should be asking CPC for $2, $3, or $4 million, each of which, as we go up, will affect our tax rate actually in a positive way. So to be continued with that, August 13th, there's a CPC meeting, and hopefully members of the building committee will be able to go and voice their opinion. So that's my report.
All right, thank you. Jamie, do you have anything to add tonight?
I do have a few things. Let's see. Yeah, so July 30th, I attended my first Affordable Housing Trust meeting as a member. Not the first meeting. And I mean, I'll keep it pretty short. There was a lot of discussion. There was no voting on anything, but a lot of discussion about the status of Gordon Conwell. And basically, I think, a lot of positive dialogue, to be determined for the future. Mary Beth gave a nice presentation from the Council of Aging just on how important senior affordable housing is. And there were, again, a lot of ideas she raised, a lot of things exchanged. We definitely do need to follow up on a lot of that, but I don't think you need me to describe it all here. Discussion of the Willow Street project and its status and a few other things. But And then, I've also attended the Council on Aging meeting, which actually Joe was on as well. I think both of us were limited to half an hour of it, and it went on longer than that. But no, they're definitely looking for some fresh blood on for people to serve, as you know, and you announced, and they're trying to work on programming, which is also reflected in Joe's town manager report. So programming balanced with the related concerns. And then I also attended these were both, I think, on Wednesday the 5th this week, the Hamilton Development Corporation. Yeah, they approved their budget. I guess that's the most significant sort of vote happened. And then, discussion of what's going on with the Willow Street property, including the fact that I think that they are going to have I'm thinking, right, what's Mac Shoe Repair rented out for a couple months by somebody. So I think that's probably enough.
That's good. You've been busy. Bill, have you got anything tonight?
Yeah, so the school committee met this afternoon. They got off the call at about 6:15, 3-hour session. To give people an idea of where they're at right now. So where they're at right now is they're currently just trying to vote what school would look like if it reopened. They haven't decided yet what that matrix looked like for what it will take to reopen. So it's basically a two-step process. The first step is on Wednesday, they're going to vote on what the hybrid plan would look like and what the remote plan would look like. And then after that, they're going to develop a matrix working with professionals, health professionals, HVAC professionals, unions, things like that, to work like what the school, what needs to be in place in order for school to open. And then once it open, what does it look like? So it's unfortunately, it's not an easy process, not a quick process. But they're working very hard to sort of get through that. So Wednesday, they're going to vote on what the hybrid process would look like and what the remote process, what the hybrid schooling would look like and what the remote learning would look like. And then the next step is to decide what the thresholds would be for school to allow it to be open safely for the hybrid model. So if there are any questions on that, there's another meeting on Wednesday.
And I thought they mentioned maybe a meeting on Thursday, because I think they have to submit everything to DESE on Friday, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, Friday's the day they need to really work on when they hire. So they need to if they're going to hire additional teachers or additional positions or flip-flop positions and shift positions, they need to make those decisions by Friday, get those in place. So yeah, a lot needs to happen in a short amount of time, but they're working very hard and diligently to make sure we do it safely in the right way. So.
All right, thanks, Bill. And Darcy, do you have something to add tonight?
Yes, I did attend the Town Hall Building Committee along with Rosie. Very interesting. They've got a lot going on. We'll be attending, there's another one this week for an update on, they have a list of initiatives, I guess you'd call it, and then the issues with each one and the solutions for each one. So they're just kind of knocking those down a little bit. It looks like we saved another $100,000, and that's based on what they know today. I found that out. And I think they're considering going with the copper gutters and the copper downspouts. It's $18,000, but I think because they've saved in other areas, they're thinking they can go that route. So I'm looking forward to that. And then I also went to the Board of Health meeting, which was really interesting. And it looks like Mr. Raffet and I guess Joe's probably working on this as well, a reorg of the Board of Health, because the scope of the work is just so far beyond what we can do as with our current situation. So they're going to look to reorganize that and possibly have somebody for oversight, because I know in this town, we're really good at getting things started and, working on them, but there's a lot of oversight that's been missing. So they want to do that with the Board of Health. Somebody who can have like Joe said, a clear vision, looking broadly and also forward. But they would also be watching what's happening behind the scenes. So it would be someone who could really help the Board of Health stay on top of this critical situation. They're also looking at the school nurses to work with the Board of Health. And so that's another initiative that's coming along. And I think that's about it.
All right, thanks, Darcy.
Mhm.
Yeah, and to Rosie and Darcy on the Town Hall Building Committee, or forgive me, I forget the new moniker or name for it, but
Yes.
I've heard a lot of positive feedback after that meeting from multiple members that they're really happy that you guys were there. You're very productive and present and really dove right in. So that's very encouraging.
Well, we're very, very excited to contribute.
And then the other thing, to Darcy's point about the health agents and the Board of Health, the other day I was doing some research, just kind of COVID and et cetera. And Massachusetts is one of those states that is under what we need for contact tracing. And so, reorganizing what we can will help Massachusetts in general with those contact tracing deficiencies. So hopefully, in a time of need, we can get a little better system going with our Board of Health. After I talk, Joe, if you don't mind, I'll have Corinne jump in here and she can give her update, and then we'll move on to your town manager report. But so I don't think it was in the packet, but I'll have Joe send it out this week. Not really specifically for anybody, but we do a code of conduct with the BOS, and Jamie's new to the board, so I just wanted to have him review it and sign it. And I don't remember if Rosie and Darcy had signed one last year, not when they got on the board, but I'll just have Joe send it to everybody, if that's fine, and everyone will just sign it, read it, and send it back to Joe at some point this week, just because I want to kind of close the loop on some ethics stuff and code of conduct and all that kind of thing. So be looking for that this week. My other update is the CPC.
So I apologize. I thought I had sent it, so that I didn't. I apologize. I thought I had sent it.
Somebody mentioned CPC earlier with Town Hall Building Committee, I believe, and we're meeting on Thursday at 7:00 and discussing status of the CPC finances and the grant request for Town Hall, as well as we got a new grant request from the First Congregational Church for the steeple and the clock. I don't know what that ask is for yet. I have to look at the packet. And then we're reviewing all of our open grants. I think we're pretty much closing out all our open grants. And we're looking at a potential joint meeting with the Wenham CPC to kind of talk long-term capital project with both towns, and as well as before COVID kind of affected all of our meetings. We were looking at a joint meeting with KP Law, since it's also Wenham's Town Council, and doing a CPC training session, kind of all CPC law and stuff like that with both CPCs. So we're trying to organize that again. And that's it for my update. And Corinne, if you want to speak now, I know you want to talk about absentee ballots and elections and whatnot. And I know that's one of our agenda items, is approving, I think, the ballot, but I'll let you speak to that.
Appreciate it. Thanks. Corinne Kale, Town Clerk. Good to see everybody. I just realized it'd be important to give everybody an update, and anybody who watches the meeting and listens, regarding early voting. I mean, right now the push has really been on the vote by mail. And just so folks know, on last Friday, I did get into the mail approximately 300 of the original absentee ballot requests. So that was folks who even requested all elections for the year when they were asking for an absentee ballot for the presidential primary in March. So 300 went out then, and simultaneously I have put 1,100 requests for vote by mail. We have 1,100 postcards that have come in. And as of about sorry, Sean?
I think that's about a fifth of our registered voters.
Yeah, no, it's really amazing. They're just pouring in. And at about 4:00 today, I ran to the post office and dropped off many, many ballots. So about 1,100 ballots have now gone in the mail, in addition to the 300 for the absentee ballots. So they're out there. Some of you on the screen, I think, should be receiving it shortly. If you
Got mine today.
Okay, terrific. That's good report. Good report. So then the next thing to start planning for is the in-person early voting, because some folks do still want to do that. If you remember, the law requires us to be open on Saturday and Sunday, August 22nd and 23rd. And since on August 22nd, I also have to be open for the last day of voter registration, which is has to be open until 8 p.m. I thought I would just use the 4 to 8 as the 4-hour requirement that we have to be open. It's 4 hours based on our number of registered voters. So these hours are now posted on the town clerk website. So Saturday, August 22nd from 4 till 8, and then Sunday the next morning, turn around from 8 until noon. And then for that entire week, it's the exact hours of town hall being open. So I think I had said to folks, so the memorial room will be completely occupied for the purposes of early voting. And so I'm busy learning all about the poll pads and the things that we have to do and the reporting up to the Secretary of State on a daily basis. Every time you close out one of those days, the data has to go all the way up to the Secretary of State's office.
Corinne, may I ask a question about early voting?
Sure.
I believe I received an email, I think it was from Joe today, and it said the early voting was at the rec center. No? Okay. I'll have to reread it.
No,
Okay.
no, I mean,
The general voting.
yeah, the election day, September 1st, we'll be at the rec center.
Okay.
But early voting is in the memorial room.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Just wanted to give folks an overview on that.
Just maybe a couple of comments, Corinne. I know, and all politics aside, I know that there's some anticipated slowdown with the USPS. So, encouraging people watching this either tonight or later on to, when you get your ballot, fill it out as early as you want to or can, and send it in with anticipation that there may be some slowdowns at the post office.
Well, we have a drop box at Town Hall, so they could avoid the post office entirely.
Yep.
And get it into Corinne's hot little hands, and we can be.
Yeah, that's great. So, Corinne, maybe if you can do and work with Joe with some promotion of that drop box at Town Hall and
Yep.
send the ballot in earlier, so that helps you guys out too with kind of getting stuff back. I think that would be great.
And just so folks are aware too, as Darcy acknowledged, she got her ballot today that was mailed on Friday, as did I. And we learned that, when you go directly to the post office on Railroad Ave and you ask them to not send all the ballots in through Boston, that whole bunch of 300 clearly went out very easily. So I think that's one of the key things is they're not, when they come to you, it's not going through Boston. So likewise on the other end, yeah, if folks just want to drop them off in the drop box, or they can walk right into Town Hall and put it on the counter, that's fine too. So it's a good reminder to everybody.
Good. And then just kind of one more kind of question / comment. We had chatted a little while ago when I was at Town Hall about poll workers. And I think you had said we were looking okay for poll workers, but if anyone's interested, always reach out to the town clerk and let them know you're interested in helping out. It's really not, it's a big deal, but at the same time, it's not a big deal. It's fairly easy, and Corinne may be able to speak to that a little bit. It's just always helping out the community, and some people, our older crowd usually does the poll workers, and we've had some issues with people being nervous about COVID and stuff. So, we're always looking for people to help out.
Appreciate that. Yeah, no, a lot of people are coming forward and actually asking to volunteer. They're not even looking to be paid as a poll worker.
Great.
So I've been very impressed with the level of folks that have stepped forward to do that. So actually, that's one thing I'll be working on tonight, is starting to plug in all the different names to the different slots. So I appreciate that, and a good reminder to folks if they are interested in learning it and working at polls now and in the future. Yeah, it'd be great to have any additional names. So thank you.
Great. Thanks, Corinne. Anything else from anybody before Corinne goes? Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And Joe, town manager report. Do you have anything you want to add today? I saw it, but maybe the public is pretty brief, but.
Yeah, I'll try to be brief here. I don't want to take up too many folks' time, but we want to let you all know that the town of Hamilton Fire Department, in collaboration with Boxford and Rowley, received an assistance to firefighters grant in the amount of $713 and some change. About $237,000 of that will come to the town of Hamilton Fire Department for radios. It will require a small grant match of just under $12,000. We've asked the Finance Committee to have us on their upcoming agenda so that we can discuss a reserve fund transfer to cover that amount. It came in, the grant was applied for some time ago, but it was a little bit of a surprise that we got word so quickly. And Rowley and Boxer have already set aside their grant match. So those towns want to move forward quickly. So that's the reason to request the reserve fund transfer. I appreciate Christina and John and Dave Wanger all taking this up for us and helping us get it on the agenda for the next meeting.
It's great. That's a small investment for the return on it for the
Yeah.
equipment, and the grant money is substantial compared to what our investment will be.
And the fire department really needs the new radios. They haven't had radios in a very long time. So this will be, this with the investments we're planning to make already in the repeaters will help really just make our emergency public communication system much more stable and more resilient. So very much looking forward to that. I believe Darcy referenced the Council on Aging, the Senior Center. They'll be gearing up for some social programming outdoors, thanks to some generosity. We had a resident come down and donate his time to fix up the one of the benches in front of the building, and then the parents of the Eagle Scout who built the patio at the back of the building last year have donated some patio furniture. So with that and some existing furniture, Mary Beth is and some tents that she has on order is hoping to have some outdoor kind of hot dogs and bingo type event to just help some of the seniors start to socialize again. Those who want to, obviously people will be spaced properly and asked to wear masks, et cetera. But that will be coming. So people who are looking for those opportunities should be checking the Hamilton COA Facebook page or looking on the town website. As information becomes available, we'll be posting it. The recreation programs have been really picking up in popularity. The last Director Sean Timmons reports that the last couple of weeks have really had bigger and bigger numbers, much more participation. They've had no safety or health issues. Everybody's been doing really well. They're following the safety protocols. The kids are all having a good time. They're getting better numbers. And as a result of the schools taking 2 weeks longer to open, thanks to the DESE order, he's going to be running they'll be running programs for into September, so that folks that want to let their kids socialize a little bit in a safe way can do so. Tim Olson is in the DPW is spearheading a renovation of the Patton Park bathrooms. The project includes replacement of bathroom fixtures, installation of touchless hand dryers, a new tile floor, paint, a new hot water heater, and lighting upgrades. The budget was approximately $50,000, but at present it looks like we'll be able to finish the project under budget, which is very nice. And we have a little bit of update on some programs at the Patton Homestead. Kaylee Perret has been noting that there have been increased requests to do some minor events outside at the homestead. We also had I won't say specifics right now just because nothing has been finalized, but a local business in the region, not in Hamilton specifically, but a business in the region looking to be able to still promote some of the outside events that they normally would do this time of year, has reached out to Kaylee about utilizing the homestead and the stable area and stuff to do some of that. So we're hoping to make that a connection and be able to report more on that in the at an upcoming meeting. It'd be nice to see the stables and stuff get utilized a little bit as we head into the fall. And we are also be meeting with the FinCom about a proposal and an idea we have to try to utilize the second and third floors of the homestead in partnership with a private entity that does co-working office space. So Incubate is a business originally out of Winthrop. They also have one they're getting ready to open in Lynn, and they are under contract to open another one down the road in Salem. The idea is that they sell memberships, and we would partner with them, and their members would have access to the second and third floors to utilize what were the bedrooms as office spaces. There's a lot to go in the agreement. We've outlined the basic terms. We're running it through council, and we'll be bringing it to you all for a look later on. But this is a promising attempt to try to help the Patton Homestead make some of its own costs back. So we'll have more on that, but we're moving along, but we're still in the early stages. It's nothing I can give you hard numbers on yet, but hopefully soon. And I will call it a day at that.
Joe, quick question.
Yeah.
On the clients that will be coming in using the second and third floors, are they going to be conducting business with clients in this location? Or is it just a space for them to do their work?
It's mostly space for them to do their work, occasionally to do a little bit, a tiny bit of networking. We have space restrictions, and obviously we'd be requiring them, as Michael does. And Michael Lucerto is the name of the man who started Incubate. He has similar restrictions on his open facility in Winthrop. They will occasionally do small meetings, but they'd be able to socially distance. There's enough rooms up there, and the way he envisions using the space would be able to keep everybody safe. We've also already had the building inspector go through the space, and what's being proposed is within the state building code, so we don't have any real major concerns with that, right, at current, which is a big relief.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
no problem.
All right, thanks, Joe. And now we have 3 minutes for public comment for any topics not already on the agenda. So I'll pause for a second, see if anybody has anything to add from the public that's here. All right, we'll move on to the consent agenda then. We have on the consent agenda a number of items. I'll read through them, and then someone can make a motion or hold if they want to. Approve minutes of July 13th, 2020 Board of Selectmen meeting. Approve Hunter Carroll his appointment to the Affordable Housing Trust.
Hold.
Okay. Approve Kim Deedle appointment to the Community Preservation Committee. Approve Bruce Gingrich and Eric Salinas, appointments to the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Hold.
Okay. Approve a route for the 4th annual For the Love of Peter motorcycle ride, and accept a tree donation from the Ricker family. All right, so I'll accept a motion for all the items except for the held ones, if someone wants to make it.
Oh, may I ask a quick question on the tree donation?
Yeah, go ahead.
Should I put a hold on that?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay, I just thought of some things.
All right. So we have a hold on a few items. We have a hold on Hunter Carroll's appointment, a hold on the Zoning Board of Appeals appointments, a hold on the tree donation. So if anybody wants to make a motion on the non-held items, I'll take one.
So moved.
All right, a second.
Second.
All right. Sorry, my dog's barking in the background. All right, so all those in favor, we'll take a roll call vote of those not held items. Rosie,
Rosie Kennedy, yes.
Bill,
Wayne Wilson, aye.
Jamie,
Jamie Knutson, aye.
Darcy,
Darcy Dale, aye.
and Sean Farrell, aye. All right, we'll take up with the first held item is approve Hunter Carroll's appointment to the Affordable Housing Trust.
I was wondering if anybody else had also applied. Usually, you know, there might be one or more people that have applied. I also am wondering, he's very, very involved with the Gordon Conwell Theological Seminary, and he depends upon them for his housing and for his wife's education. And I'm kind of wondering if that would be a conflict for someone who's going to be negotiating with Gordon for this affordable housing. And, I also would like us to remember that when we redid our policies for peopling or populating these committees, that we like to hear from the actual, either the chair or the committee itself. They usually send like a letter or something like that. So in lieu of receiving anything, I think we should wait and maybe put this off until we receive the information that we have so we can make a decision. But we have to hear from, I think, the committee itself or the chair, just like we have all along. I know that on the ZBA, the chair made very clear he was, supporting these two candidates. So my idea is to put this off until we've had a chance to hear from the committee members or the chair.
Jamie, did you guys talk about any of this at your Affordable Housing Trust meeting?
So we did. Hunter was present for the meeting, and there was no, there was no formal vote to say we approve him. But it was generally very positive. I believe there were statements that we look forward to having you on the board with us, or something to that effect. So yeah, there weren't any reservations expressed. I mean, and Shannon sent around his application and submission. Affordable Housing Trust, I believe it was today, maybe today or yesterday. And
There was an updated one. Sorry, Jamie, just to interrupt. I don't mean to interrupt, but just for clarification, there was an updated application just because some more, an update to his job history right now. He had applied several months ago. He was the only candidate. Actually, you have all the applications for all the open seats with you tonight. So there were, just to clear that up for any others, there's nobody else has to this point applied for any of the open seats anywhere. But Hunter had updated on Thursday evening. So Friday, Pat sent out the updated application just so that you would see his latest job history and latest resume.
I mean, yeah, I would say procedurally. I mean, we know we don't have any other candidates, and position's been open for a while. But I think procedurally, we did agree that we would hear from the chairman of the board as well as ask him. So I agree with Darcy that probably for the next meeting, just have him attend and just get a letter from the chair of the Affordable Housing Trust. And I think that's all we really need to move forward. But we did sort of make that agreement last time that we had this this issue.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And that we would hear from the applicants themselves. I mean, these are,
Mhm.
I think one of the problems that we've had is just because somebody shows up, and I'm not pointing at anybody, but what I'm saying in general is that we've had some issues with some mistakes that have cost the town a significant amount of time, legal information that we've had to get consults from legal, and it's cost the town money. And so what the policy state is that there will be a recommendation from the board who the person is applying to, and secondly that person will come and talk to us, so we will have the ability to talk with them. Certainly we value people's willingness to volunteer, but we also need to make sure that it's a good fit so that we can make sure that we're moving forward in a way that's beneficial to the town. And so I think it's important. And so one of the things that I would also like to see is that we need to just do a little tweaking to the policy. Joe sent me the policy today again, and I think just some of the verbiage needs to be tweaked just a little bit when one looks at the October 21st BOS minutes. There was some anticipated changes, and I would like for us to look at it and make sure that it's what we want it to be. And second, the final point I wanted to make was that the Affordable Housing Trust did not have the benefit of the applicant's resume or his cover letter. And when they received that, there was one comment from one of the Affordable Housing Trust members, which underscores even more importantly the importance of really looking at our candidates and looking at the information they provide. So I don't want to see us go off the important road that we embarked upon when we made this policy. And that's my objection to the hold on the ZBA candidates. Not that I don't know either of them. I've not had the opportunity to meet with them. I don't think they've presented themselves to us. And I'm not saying I'm against anybody, but I think important that we have an opportunity to look at their resumes, their cover letters, and have them join us for just a little interview. I think that's important.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with majority of that. I think that the case is a little bit different with the Affordable Housing Trust and the ZBA. I mean, we did get an endorsement from the chair of the ZBA for their candidates, and one's an alternate already. So he's already, I don't want to say he's already on the board, but he's
Right.
been at meetings and participating and getting information. But I do agree with the other one, with the late stuff with the cover letter and the resume, and not a full endorsement by the affordable, even though it sounds like it's a positive pre-endorsement, I guess we'll call it, from the meeting, from what Jamie described. We didn't get a notice of an endorsement or a vote that they would like him to be appointed. So, and Joe, just kind of a question to you, with that policy that we have for the appointments when we changed it, did all the chairs and boards get notice of that new policy? Or, I would think that we should have got
I'd have to go back and look. I mean, I know we told them all that we changed it, but I don't know if I actually sent them the policy.
Yeah, so maybe let's just send it out to all the chairs, and that way they know there's kind of a new procedure. We get a volunteer, we spend some time waiting for other people to step up, and then we have that endorsement from the board after they talk to it. And I believe the current language in the policy is that they are not required but recommended to attend our meeting when we appoint them. I know things come up and maybe you can't make the meeting or something like that, and that's understandable, but we're encouraging them to come to at least put a face to the name and stuff like that, and kind of give a little statement about what their vision is for their involvement in the whatever board or committee they're on. So,
Sean, we never signed the policy.
I know, I saw that email today. So we voted it, but never signed it. So maybe if you want, Rosie, we can look at that language again a little bit. And
yeah, it's just a slight tweak.
Sure. So we'll maybe put that on our next agenda. It shouldn't be that much.
Perfect.
We can see
Perfect.
what Rosie has to say and see if we want to change it.
Okay, and again, I just want to make it clear that I am not against anybody, and certain for the ZBA, I do certainly value very much Bill's opinion. I just feel it's our responsibility to also lay eyes on these candidates and chat with them a little bit.
Okay. I mean, well, for tonight, I think we all kind of agree the table, at least Hunter Carroll's appointment. The other appointment of the ZBA, I'm okay with. If the ZBA's vetted them and I've looked at the resumes and stuff, I'm okay with making a decision tonight, but it's up to the board if they want to appoint tonight or not, those two other people in the ZBA. I guess maybe we should first finish up maybe a vote to table Hunter Carroll's appointment until we get a endorsement from the Affordable Housing Trust. Everyone agree with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Does somebody want
Yes.
to make a motion to that effect?
Yes, Darcy.
I'll make a motion that we hold off on the appointment for Hunter Carroll until we have had a chance to have another meeting. Sorry.
Get endorsement from the Affordable Housing
Yes,
Trust.
thank you. So moved.
And I'd like to amend that. I would like for him to present himself to the Board of Selectmen also, so that we can chat and discuss his cover letter a bit.
Right, if possible. Okay. A second on that?
Second,
Okay. All those in favor, we'll start with Rosie.
Rosie Kennedy, aye.
Bill?
William Olson, aye.
Jamie?
Jamie, I.
Darcy?
Darcy Dale, aye.
And Sean Farrell, aye. Okay, next one was the appointments of Bruce Gingrich and Eric Salinas to the zoning board. Discussion that I kind of went into it before we made the motion in the last one, but what's the kind of consensus on this one? Do we want to table it?
I mean, I think procedurally we should do the same procedure unless there's some time crunch, unless there's something coming up in the ZBA, because that's two members, and if they're down 2 members, it might not allow them to be productive. But is there any time crunch they have for anything they need to decide on, or can we wait till the end of the month?
None that I know of. No time crunch that I know of.
Okay.
All right, so if anybody wants to make a motion similar to the last one, I'll take it.
I make a motion that we table the deciding on the appointees for the ZBA until our next meeting.
Okay. All those in favor, Rosie Kennedy?
I'll second, and Rosie Kennedy, aye.
Oh, thank you, Rosie. Sorry. Bill?
William Olson, aye.
Getting ahead of myself. Jamie?
Jamie Knutson, aye.
Darcy?
Darcy Dale, aye.
The consent agenda is supposed to go quick, people.
It's got to be consentable.
Yes,
That's true. That's true. All right.
yes.
All right. Moving on now did you have other questions about the tree thing? We didn't finish that one. That was
Wait.
I just wanted to know who's going to be responsible for maintenance and all that
the
stuff.
town's going to assume the maintenance is my
Town,
understanding.
Yeah, the town, just like with the larger donation of trees that we took from the Institution for Savings earlier this year. But Tim and Pete Cobb will work with the donor. They specifically asked to site this someplace at Patton Park. It'll be a little bit difficult to make sure they can find a place that won't interfere with structured activities that happen there, like the baseball games and softball games and things. And
Well, I
but they,
was wondering if we have a tree that's got to come down in the next few years, maybe we could put it at that location.
yeah, so I asked him to check on that. He said he would, but his recollection is that particularly like around the pavilion and stuff, most of the trees there are all in really good shape right now and pretty healthy. So, but he'd work with the family and with the Pete to site it someplace where it will both grow and be healthy without, with minimal upkeep from the team.
Right. And it's a tree of our choice, if I'm remembering correctly. So, we'll find one that fits with whatever setting we decide to put it in.
Thank
And-
you.
and-
Rosie should be a big fan of that tree.
I
Rosie loves
am
her
a
trees.
big- I'm so excited. Yes, yes, yes. I've already got an idea, but we'll talk
It-
about that after.
Just kind of a side question to that, Joe. Is there going to be any kind of a memorial plaque that the family's doing or we're doing? I know some of
A
the trees
bench.
do have
I
plaques.
thought they were doing a bench also.
Plaque?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So if anybody wants to make a motion,
I make a motion that we accept the tree donation from the Ricker family.
second to anybody?
Second.
All right.
Second.
Rosie? All
Yes,
those
aye.
approved? Aye. Bill?
William Olson, aye.
Jamie?
Jamie Knutson, aye.
Darcy?
Darcy Dale, aye.
And Sean Farrell, aye. All right. Moving on to our agenda.
Just a quick question, John. I just want to make sure nobody is attending that wanted to speak to the two topics we spoke on. Nobody's here from the ZBA or the
That's a good
before we
thing.
sort of move on if they attended.
Anybody for tree or ZBA or Affordable Housing Trust? Thanks, Bill. That was good thought. Now we have the first thing on our agenda is approve election ballot for September primary.
Yes, you should have had this in your packets, and it would ask you that if this passes tonight, which it kind of needs to pass tonight, we'd ask you to all to stop by town hall by Wednesday morning this week so we can get this signed for Corinne and she can get it registered with the state. So between tonight and Wednesday morning sometime would be great.
Could you send us an email, please, to remind us? Thank
Yep.
you.
I know.
All right, unless anybody has any questions about approving the ballot, I think that was in our packets, correct, Joe?
Yep, yes, it was.
Pretty standard. Hopefully everyone looked at it. I didn't see any typos or anything on it. If anybody wants to make a motion to approve it, I'll take it.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Second.
All right, all those in favor? We'll start with Rosie.
Rosie Kennedy, aye.
Bill?
William Olson, aye.
Jamie?
Jamie Knutson, aye.
Darcy?
Darcy Dale, aye.
And Sean Farrell, aye. All right. Now we have the Hamilton Historical Society presentation. And I see Anne Marie is on here and we'll unmute her and she's got a brief presentation for us from the Historical Society. Welcome, Anne Marie.
Thank you very much. Just to give you kind of a quick overview, I am a lifelong resident of Hamilton. I worked at the Hamilton Wenham Emergency Center for 39 years, 30 of it as a chief dispatcher. And just as an aside, I had a little accident on May 22nd, fell and broke my wrist, and was so impressed by the response from police, fire, and ambulance. I'd always been on the other end of that, but to be the patient and be the one that needed the services, they were just terrific. Another quick thank you. I want to thank you for the support of the Patton Homestead. It's a really important space to us in the Historic Society. So we've got some nice bright space, a couple of rooms, room for display, and it's so much better than the basement at Town Hall with those awful stairs. But I just wanted to say thank you for that. Well, I was originally scheduled to come in March, and the whole world stopped. So what I wanted to talk to you about in March is not happening, but I'll just tell you what it was. The plan was to photograph all the downtown businesses with their owners and employees out front. We have some great pictures from the 1920s of one of them was Gould's Store, which is downtown where the consignment shop is now. And another one was Daly's Market right beside Town Hall, and to see the fashion and the cars and everything. So we thought, what a great thing to do, because I think sometimes in a historical society, we tend to look back, but if we don't look at the present and look forward, we're not continuing the history. So we
Yeah.
thought it was really important. That was going to be our Hamilton 2020 project, which I'm hoping will be our Hamilton 2021 project. We thought it wouldn't be great to have people in front of the stores with their masks on, because nobody would know who they were. So we're going to wait. And another thank you to the Institution for Savings. They gave us a grant to be able to do that, to be able to buy some photography equipment.
Wonderful.
And we're going to get that done. So marching on, we decided that in order to chronicle what's going on right now, we are doing our pandemic project. So we've been taking pictures, and I reached out to, I don't want to miss anybody, the Hamilton Wenham Library, Hamilton Wenham CAM, the Hamilton Wenham Community House, the Bucher third grade, because I was a substitute there and they do Massachusetts things, so they've done some work for us. And Jay Burnham, who I'm sure most of you know, does those wonderful drone pictures and and he's told us we could have whatever we want. So I don't know, as long as the pandemic goes on, we'll keep taking pictures. And
Boy, I just got a great plug from Anne Marie Cullen.
Jay,
Well deserved, Jay, well deserved.
Jay, there's another one coming up. So we had our IT person do, and I don't know if this will show up. This is our pandemic project poster. I think it's showing up backwards,
I see
but
it, yeah.
yeah, but you can see Alexander Hamilton with his mask on. And we asked people, it's a really easy address to send things, whether they want to send pictures or how they're feeling through the pandemic or anything like that. And it's to hhs@hamiltonma.gov. So it's Hamilton Historical Society, hhs@hamiltonma.gov.
Emery, if I can just interrupt for a second and
Sure.
task Joe to maybe put that out on our social media so other people can get the message, that'd be great.
Okay, great. Thank
You're reading my mind, Sean. I was just going to ask Anne Marie if you could send me that photo,
I
and
absolutely.
and I'll have Bobby Gates push that out this week. That's great. You're looking for photos
Terrific.
from the pandemic. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Help
photos
people.
or how people feel. It could be in writing, but it's just something that as we looked back, there's not a lot for the 1918 pandemic.
Yeah.
And we're trying to get different age groups too. As the kids are going back to school, I don't know, I kind of had a feeling it wouldn't last this long. So we'll have another school, at least part of a school year, to reach out to the teachers to see if they can help us to what the kids are going through too. So anything from the members of the Board of Selectmen would be greatly appreciated.
You might want to reach out too, and maybe there was I want to say it was almost a national called the Porch Project or the Front Porch Project.
I did see that.
And Tracy Westgate, a photographer in town, a few other photographers in town, were going around taking family pictures of people on their front porches.
Yeah.
And I think of my house. I just had a neighbor who was doing some research and found pictures of my house from when it was first built in 1896 and sent them to me.
Oh.
And I thought it kind of interesting because I just did the porch project, and so my family's on the front porch, and it's kind of like 100 years difference or so. It'd be kind of neat to have them.
That would be great, because it's not just the idea of that's not going to show the pandemic so much, but the people who lived here at that time and the fashions. We don't think about it now, but it'll be interesting to look at the clothes people were wearing and
The yoga pants.
yeah.
Athleisure, right?
In 1896, Darcy, they didn't have yogurt pants then. But Sean, why don't you and your family dress up in 1896
Yeah.
outfits. That's okay, creative. That sounds
Right.
like so much fun.
Sean has nothing else to do. Just a couple of things. I think sometimes people sort of forget that we're even there. Oh, just before I forget, another Jay Burnham plug. We were contacted
Jesus.
by the Registry of Deeds. They are putting out a set of 5 books, and they wanted a contribution from each community. And this one was on either deeds or a property. So we thought it over and we decided to do Patton Park. And I'm sure you're familiar with the 2 wonderful books that Annette Janes has out on Hamilton and the one about characters. If you don't, please contact me. We would love to get them out to you. So I asked Jay if he had a picture, and he went and took some aerial photos and sent them to me, and we decided what we liked best. And then he decided that the weather wasn't great. He went back down again on a beautiful sunny day and did it again. So we submitted that picture. And thank you, Jay. And the couple of paragraphs from Annette. So that will be in the book that the Registry of Deeds will be publishing.
Cool.
Yeah, I think that, and then we'll be doing one on Indians and one on military. Let's see, there's one more, because one's going to be on the Registry of Deeds. Why can't I think of just a famous person, I think. So we've
So
kind of got in our heads what we're doing.
I have something funny. I don't know if it'll be of interest to you, but it's historical. I don't a neighbor who moved gave it to me, and it's registry of births and deaths in Hamilton from like 1850 to around 1900, and it's really interesting. And as I looked through it, one of the causes of death for this 90-year-old person was old age and chronic complaints. That's great. Would you like that?
We would love to have that.
I almost fell off the couch. I thought that was the
That's
best
great.
thing I'd ever seen.
And we do have people coming in looking for some facts like that for genealogy.
Yes.
You know, so many people are doing genealogy during this pandemic. So anything like that is of any interest to us. If anyone has old pictures, please also send them to that hhs@hamiltonma.gov. We will be sending out a newsletter. We do a newsletter 4 times a year, and we'll be sending one out shortly. And I think we'll talk a little bit about the pictures that we have all scanned, and you can go online and look at them. A lot of them are old houses and people that you know, and it's like a trip down memory lane. It's great. So, and also encourage anyone that's not a member to become a member. It would be great to have more town officers of all the boards and everything, because I think everyone can add something to what we're doing. So we'd really appreciate that. I will bring down some applications and leave them either in Joe's office or with the town clerk. The newsletter, we do speakers during the year. We had to cancel our March speaker. I don't know whether we're going to be able to do anything virtual or it'll just have to wait. We did a book appraisal that was very well attended. We've used the library meeting room. And the last thing we did was a really interesting display of Hamilton in winter. And we were able to go back and get some of the pictures from the ice fishing over in Chabaco Lake. So the big buildings, and show them cutting the ice and pulling the horses and everything. So we have a lot of interesting stuff, and we're open to the public. We'd love to have people come. I think that was and the only other thing is we do an annual dinner every year in October. We are already thinking we're not going to be able to do that this year, but hoping to be able to do that the following year, and maybe we'll see how the spring goes. But because it's a pretty well attended thing, and there's no way we could socially distance and be able to do that. But I appreciate this time that you've given us to tell you what we have done, are doing, and will be doing.
Well, thank you so much, Anne-Marie. That was delightful. Anybody
Thank
have
you.
any questions or comments for her before we let her go?
No, you're a great ambassador, because I'm excited about it.
Oh, great.
Super.
I'm excited
Thank you.
too. And I did want to say just one thing. I didn't mention the name of the IT person that did the picture. That was Klaus Sagerer. And Annette Janes reached out. She did the grant to the Institution for Savings. And we were thinking that since we couldn't do this year, we were going to return the grant money because it didn't feel right to hold on to it. And Annette talked to them, and they said everyone's in the same boat, and to please not worry about it. and to just continue that on. So I want to thank her for doing that, and for the Institution for Savings for being so understanding and so generous.
Great. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Hope to see you in person soon.
Yeah, same.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Next up on our agenda, we have discussion of the return to EOW, or every other week, trash collection. And we have some members of the Waste Reduction Committee on the Zoom here with us. And so last week we sent out with our packet, but we didn't discuss it, all of our tonnage numbers from, I think, textiles, compost, solid waste, everything like that. It was in our packets again. Hopefully you've looked at it and looked at some of the numbers and seen the difference that we've had over the last handful of months. And I reached out to the Waste Reduction Committee to talk to them about, and I think I mentioned at our last meeting, about maybe some type of a informational Zoom or tips and tricks to composting and stuff like that, and other things. And I think through my kind of brief discussions with the Waste Reduction Committee, we kind of wanted to focus it on just the compost side of things, because that's our biggest take from one place into the other place that's the least tonnage cost for us. We get that compost out of the trash, and it lowers our solid waste tonnage. And also, with Brick Ends Farm, with the lower price point, it's the most kind of effective way to reduce our costs overall. I guess I'm not sure how to tee up the debate. Maybe if Gradle or someone wants to chime in from the Waste Reduction Committee and just and talk about maybe what you're maybe looking at, or if you've discussed anything yet with that kind of a informational Zoom or public service thing, because I know there's a lot of tips and tricks that you guys know on that committee that maybe everybody doesn't know, on how to kind of keep the waste down or keep the smell down, process it, all that kind of stuff. And then us as our board, for the Board of Selectmen, begin the discussion about, I'm going to say when, not really if, judging by the tenor of our last discussions with it, when we go back to every other week pickup, and kind of rolling that back out and making sure the public has some notice of it. We just don't want to surprise them with the change. Not everyone's going to be happy, of course, because we do have a citizens petition coming back to us at fall STM for keeping every week. But our past discussions have lent towards kind of environmental responsibility and fiscal responsibility as far as our waste reduction. So maybe just start with Gradle, if you want to say anything about the potential kind of PSA for people on compost, and if you've discussed it, or what your thoughts are and what we could do to support you in that.
The committee met and responding to your requests, especially, I remember you saying you were anxious to hear whether you thought we should go back to the every other week or stick with this. And the committee's consensus was, as long as the COVID crisis is in place, we really ought to just keep the program as it is and not switch back until the crisis has passed. Clearly, you guys went back to the every week because of it, and it seems to me the logical thing is to go back once we've gotten a handle on the COVID epidemic. So we're saying stay with that. Let's see. I'll also point out that the meager data that we have here of the 2 months that we actually did every other week. As you know, we did see a significant drop in tonnage when we went to every other week, but it was such a short period of time. By the time we went back to every week, of course, instantly the tonnage went back up again.
Right.
And as Tim will tell you, a number of families came streaming in asking for green bins, a whole new renewed interest in composting. The EOW was abandoned and that interest died out. So clearly there's a direct connection between limiting how much trash you can put out and the level at which people are willing to, or that people will be actually composting as opposed to just throwing it into their bin because they have them on the every week to throw it into that bin. So I know that this committee, the board, yourselves, that you are more than aware of the benefits of composting, and that the town remarkably has made possible at no extra cost to residents free composting. Every other town that does it, people have to pay for it. It's a cost to the town to find a place to compost, etc. Everything's in place here. It's just a matter of pushing the button and saying, do it. So if everyone composted, as you know, our trash rates would probably drop by about 30%, the tonnage, because the heavy stuff is the wet stuff, is the food, is the compostable material. And if we got that out of our trash, we'd immediately see a pretty significant drop in our solid waste tonnage. However, that would require methods to get everyone to compost. Let's see, and the only way it seems to me to do that would be to require that no garbage or compostable material is allowed in the solid waste stream. This is what the state of Vermont has just instituted in the month of July. Of course, Seattle and San Francisco did this some time ago, and it's been successful in those places. All the pieces for the program for us are already in place. We don't have to go out and find a composter or set up a system to pick it up. It's already there. And like banning long sprinkling, which the board is quite comfortable doing, it seems to me that it shouldn't be, the next step could be banning garbage out of your solid waste. The electronic sign, the committee thought could be used to let people know that there's a solid waste change. That we're talking now about getting people to compost full time. A robocall could bring in this to residents. Free compostable liner bags could be offered. Free in-house coaching could be made available easily. A short film, maybe by the film department at the high school, could be created. All we need is for the Board of Selectmen to mandate garbage out of the trash. Become the first in the state to do so. It's already on the state DEP's agenda, and it's your waste reduction team would even help you get this on the road. You just have to do it.
Right. And with your committee, Gradle, I know we've gotten some grants over the years from green communities and stuff like that. Do we have any money in the coffers for having some green bags to give the people if they need them?
We do. We actually, we thought we did, but our what we call RDP funds from the state got spent on blue bags by our DPW director. I think he's trying to rectify that. We, by the actions that we have taken to provide all kinds of possibilities for the town residents, like the styrofoam recycling and the lending library at the lending library of 100 items and so forth. We get so many points for that, and those amount to so many dollars.
Right.
Sharing an electronic waste day with other towns would be another way, which is $1,200 that we would earn if we would put that in place. We just need to have the cooperation of our DPW department. So all of those ways are ways to range. And in fact, I happen to have several dozen boxes of compostable bags in my barn here that we thought we'd be handing out at public events.
Right.
But of course, public events have come to a halt. And we can easily restock those and make them available to anybody who wants them.
Right. And maybe when we do the kind of PSA with your group, we can let people know that there are some available. It's not an unlimited quantity, but it can help encourage people to compost and do what's right for the environment.
Right.
and fiscally.
But what will encourage them more is for the Board of Selectmen to say, you cannot put your garbage in your trash stream.
Right.
It's pretty simple.
Can you go back to the, I know you do a nice job with the spreadsheet. Can you just go back? And I know it's only a 4-month sample of the change, but can you just, is it on the spreadsheet, pull it up and just identify those numbers and how they went up and down? Might be
That,
helpful.
that first sheet where it goes from like 130 or something to 88 or something like that. I think in that first month we went back to EOW.
I was waiting for somebody to point it out, so I didn't actually look at it before it got taken off. So Joe, can you just pull back up and just show us what cells we should be looking at here?
So, and maybe.
Yeah, we went from 100 and
I think it's on the previous sheet.
yeah, in February 108 to down to 88.55.
It's
And then
amazing.
135 to 92 the following.
Okay.
And look
Yeah,
for-
and then it went right, and then it went over.
And then we went
okay.
right back up past
Right.
where we were.
Yeah,
You know, that was that first month of lockdown.
yeah.
So the numbers are pretty significant right there in just a couple months that we actually had it.
And then and then the organics is the next one. Does that?
It is interesting about the organics. The organics did go up during the pandemic as well. So both, it didn't go up as much as the trash, but it was funny that there were more people composting during the lockdown at home.
Right.
You
And I think too, you know, it might not, maybe it was more people composting, but it could have been the same people composting more.
More, right? That's true.
Because I know in my household, we haven't been out to a restaurant. So we've been cooking every night at home. So there's more food waste generated. So
Yeah.
that's
And
it.
some of us had college students appear on our doorstep.
Right. Some of us had kids come home,
Yeah.
et cetera. So
What's the June? Is the June a partial number? It's only 10.2.
There was some mistake there. We
Okay.
think that was only 1 week's worth of data.
Gotcha. Okay.
And we asked them, please to correct that.
that makes
Yeah.
sense.
All right. Thank you for this. This is very helpful. You know, we're definitely want to go on the right path, and you know, unfortunately, we had to take a sidestep here, but we will get back on it as soon as we can.
So I think maybe kind of for our board to discuss, and we'll kind of put a task on the waste reduction committee to, you know, with our help, whatever they need to work on some type of a PSA on compost or a tips video or something. And maybe if we have some kids, you know, it would be good sooner than later, but you know, maybe we have some kids with Bill Melville there at the CAM studio that can help us put together some type of video, or maybe the environmental club at the school we can reach out to and see if they can help with it, you know, and make it kind of a fun video somehow. So it's informative, but you know, it's interesting at the same time.
Exactly. I've seen them done by high school kids, and they're
Yeah.
usually very funny. Yeah, they have great fun with that topic.
So great. If you could, I know you've reached out in the past, if you could reach out to that environmental club when school kind of gets back, and, you know, that might be a good way for the kids to connect a little bit. I know that we're going to be socially distancing and whatnot, but it might be good. They could maybe figure out something fun to do with Zoom. I've seen a couple videos that kids have done where they're handing somebody something
Yeah.
in the video. And it goes to the next kid in wherever their house is. So maybe they could think of some kind of a fun way to present the information. So
Is there a
if you guys go ahead.
Is there a timeline on when we want to accomplish this goal?
That's a good question. I mean, that leads into our kind of discussion on, you know, and it sounds like the Waste Reduction Committee has kind of said, stay the course right now with every week until we get farther out of out of this pandemic, not really into it, but, you know, and then our board should maybe think about their thoughts and recommendations on it as far as staying with every week instead of every other week. I think we should maybe, you know, as much as I would do it tomorrow, really. I mean, I know I'm going to not make anybody happy with that. I would change it
I
tomorrow.
would too.
I would too.
You know,
In
I think
fact, if we do every other week, could we still institute that policy that there's no garbage that goes in the, there's no wet stuff that goes in the
right.
black barrel, blue bag? I mean,
I don't know. I mean, it's like, as I wonder with the you know, like the governor we've gone back a phase, right? And so
Yeah.
I just don't want to, you know, with public opinion and stuff like that, I don't want to be so harsh that,
Okay,
you know, my view is different from, I think we all have a similar view. But
yes,
there's a lot of people out there that are struggling now with different things, and I don't want to alienate them.
Mhm.
So I want to be very thoughtful about it. Go ahead.
What if you said, go ahead with every week, we're just counting on you to get your garbage out of your trash? You
Right.
know,
Yeah, I think we
if-
can-
Right,
you
that's
know,
that's
that
the
would be-
compromise, right? That's the compromise. Is go to every week trash, but you know, make a policy.
Right.
But it's an enforcement though issue, and then
right.
who enforce
Especially
it? We don't want trash left on the side of the road that's not being picked up because it has food wasted. I mean, that's a whole different issue. So that's the problem is enforcement. I like the
So,
idea, but
Yeah, I agree, Bill. So maybe what we should do is hire a neighborhood dog to inspect trash cans. And if they walk away, we'll know that they're doing the right thing.
No, but I think if we really start working together with the Waste Reduction Committee in the next couple months and really promoting what we all envision the right thing to do is, and not going back to every other week until maybe the governor's lifted whatever phase we're in. Maybe we have a broader discussion about when the governor is in phase 4 or there aren't phases anymore and we're back to normal, then we go back to an every other week. You know, that's a broader discussion I think we should have. But I think for now we really try to push that, you know, do the right thing for the environment and
Yeah.
our pocketbooks, because you know, it all comes out of our pockets.
Yeah.
You know, that waste tonnage goes way up. We pay a lot more for that tonnage, plus all the issues with Wheelabrator and stuff coming up with contracts renewing and different plants shutting down for the processing and stuff like that. It's going to be a major issue in the next probably 5 years for us. I mean, it's an issue now, but it's going to be even more so, right?
Closer than 5 years.
Right.
It's about the next year and a half.
Right.
So I like that. I like that plan to start pushing the compost.
Yeah.
And I also just wanted to make a comment that, you know, for just from what I've seen, I don't think we're going to get into a normal phase
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
it's
going to be next summer,
definitely,
maybe, right? So,
yeah.
so do we want to, I guess, have a broader discussion about phasing now, or do you want to kind of think about it and put it on an upcoming agenda as far as timing for a discussion on going back as far as the governor's phasing versus our returning to every other week? If, you know, and if we do enough promotion, maybe we won't need to.
Right.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. How do we come up with I mean, once again, I don't want to use the word policy, but
Suggestion.
a suggestion that no food waste is not allowed in your trash, and
A position
the
paper.
position paper we all
paper.
sign, we get it out there, and that's a compromise. It sounds like we're willing to make a compromise that will continue the trash every week, but the town has to show a concerted effort to not put food waste. I mean, when I drive down the street and I see only 2 out of 10 houses have the green barrels out, it's disappointing, right? So we have to promote that. So
Apologize, my wife just turned off the lights on.
Wondering what happened.
saving.
I was telling my son to be quiet, and they left the room and shut the lights off.
Well, you told them to shut the lights off.
Tell them to shush. But so let's maybe plan on, if everyone's okay with it, we'll kind of work on this promotional phase of it. And Gradle, if you can let me know and invite me to your next meeting, and we'll talk with your group, or I'll talk with your group and kind of relay it back to my board about some kind of ideas that you guys might have, and we'll kind of push, maybe not policy yet, but promotion of what we're looking to accomplish here, and as far as a long-term goal for us.
Well, you know, I think we have brainstormed this. I've presented you with a few notions. We really are on the track of, we need to have the board support this as a town policy. Why in God's name did the town buy bins for everyone? Why are we paying a hauler to pick up everyone's compost? I mean, everything is in place.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of saying, this is what we expect you to do. We've given you the equipment to do it. You don't pay an extra cent to do it, but you certainly would save your town a lot of funding. As you know, this is the largest cost to the town aside from schools.
Right.
And
So
it's
let
going
me
up and up.
change my phrasing then. Instead of brainstorming with the committee, let's talk next steps. How's
Yes.
that?
Okay, fine.
We'll establish some next steps and benchmarks because I want to get kind of a cadence of, a lot of times we kind of talk about something for a second and then it disappears. And then
Yes,
something happens and we talk about it again and then it disappears.
yes,
We need to kind of stay a steady course on this.
yeah, yeah.
And-
All right, well, we'll have a list of tasks ready for you when you come to meet us.
Good.
So and also Gradle, I just wanted to say, as evidence of the success of the composting, when that compost goes behind town hall, I mean, you have to take a number, it goes so fast. So people appreciate the outcome, but let's see if we can increase the input, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and you know, because Rosie kind of made me think of something. You know, with Brick Ends Farm and Peter doing all the composting, and it's in town. It would be kind of good to maybe include in our little PSA thing that we do, or promotional thing. Maybe we get a tour of Brick Ends Farm for people. You know,
It is. Yeah, I've done it and it is amazing. So, I mean,
Yeah, it
and
is.
Peter loves showing it off. So, I mean, it's not a problem. So
maybe we can even, I know Jay Burnhams might be still on here. I see his name down there. Maybe Jay and Peter, we can do a little drone view of the compost place and do a little informal video on how it actually happens and what it does and how good it is for the environment.
and how quick it's
How
done.
much money it's going to save us. How about that?
Actually, Brick Ends has a very nice website with all of what you're talking about already filmed.
Yep.
And people can go online right away and see it.
All right.
Right.
Ends
I
Farm, yes.
heard my name
Uh-oh.
in vain. Is that
Where
right?
have you been, Jay?
I was talking about your wonderful drone footage, Jay, and saying that maybe we could get some drone shots of Brick Ends Farm that kind of show the operation there. And Grado was saying Peter has a video on his website that kind of shows the operations, but we can promote it as part of our promoting of the composting in town.
All that video that Peter has on his website is footage that we have done of the operation out there. So I have copies of that, and anything that the town would like to use, you're free to have it for sure.
Perfect. Thanks, Jay. We'll be in touch then. We'll circle it back to you and Peter and see what we can put together.
Okay, thanks so much.
All right.
Bravo. Thanks, Jay.
All right. Any other comments on the trash talk?
Just I wanted to thank Gretel for all the work she's done over the years.
Yeah.
Thank God she's persistent.
Yes.
Well, I have good support from my team.
And
While we're here, Heather and Ann are on board as well. They're on the meeting as well.
Yep.
They're not showing us their smiling faces, but they are here and they're part of that committee.
And Linda, Jay's wife is on the committee.
Oh,
Yeah.
perfect. Well, thank you very much, Gretel.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Definitely be in touch. Let me know when your next meeting is and put me the task, okay?
I will incidentally, just let me say, Linda is one of the remaining acting people. She sends letters out to every new family explaining to them our trash program, which is so unique. So that's been a really important part of our contribution.
Great. Well, thank you. All right. Next agenda item is open the warrant for a special town meeting on November 4th, 2020. If someone wants to make a motion to open the warrant, I'll take it.
I make a motion that we open the warrant for the special town meeting.
A second, anybody?
Second.
All right. All those in favor, we'll start with Rosie.
Rosie Kennedy, aye.
Bill,
William Olson, aye.
Jamie,
Jamie Knutson, aye.
Darcy,
Darcy Dale, aye.
and myself, Sean Farrell, aye. In our packet, and Joe, if you can put it up on the screen, if not, I can read them out, but we have possible warrant articles for STM in fall. We got a first draft here. Excuse me. So capital expenditures, the home rule petition to amend acts of 2010, chapter 91. That was a housekeeping item, if I'm correct.
Yep.
The master plan capital request, excuse me. The town hall building committee CPC request, which we're going to discuss on Thursday at the CPC meeting. The town hall building committee request for ballot question for the debt exclusion, And then the other CPC request will most likely be the First Congressional Church, the reorg of the Health Department, the citizen petition for what we just discussed, requests for costs related to assessing department software, an upgrade for our systems, request for additional appropriation of town clerk's office for new costs related to new election requirements and staffing, grant match for firefighters, which was, it was more than 12, but the approximate, what was it? Was it wrong?
10. I thought it said about 10.
11,100 is 11,188, and if they, if the FinCom votes to approve a reserve fund transfer, we'll remove this from
Right.
the list. So we'll discuss that with them on the 19th, and they'll vote, and if they vote successfully, then we'll bring it to you for a confirmatory.
Yeah, I'm going to guess we'll drop that one off. And then additional funding for the water system improvements for phase 4. The 600,000 to include project alternatives, which was what we had discussed a while ago now with the different filtration system that we voted on. The forgive me, Joe, I can't remember what it's called.
So there's actually two different. The second one, the second one is the one you're talking about. The board back in February, I guess, must have been February or very early March, right before the pandemic. I had voted to go in the direction of a preferred option for pre-treatment that wasn't the initial system. That one you knew came with more costs. That was, this funding would be related to those costs. The $600,000 is related to phase 4 of water system improvements, which is ongoing. We had just put out a bid, and we have several alternates in the bid that would amount to another $600,000 worth of work if the board and the FinCom and the town meeting decide to allow us to fund it. We do the alternates, but they were we can finish phase 4 without the alternates, with the funding we have. So we'll have Tim in to discuss both those with you, and Marissa, because this is a concern for us with the amount of borrowing we have in the Water Enterprise Fund right now. So we may have to choose between these two items.
Okay.
Joe, I have a quick question. The phase 4, that is the final phase of the original $10 million.
Right. Yep.
That's water mains and
Yep.
all costs associated with it, right?
But
Exactly.
you know that I mean, another $600,000. That's a boatload of additional money.
Yep, it is, but I mean, I don't, they're not bringing forward anything that isn't ultimately needed. If we don't do it now, we'll wind up doing it later on. We'll just rotate it back into the capital plan at for some other point down the road. We always have to make these decisions based on both the immediate need and what else we've got going on. We understand it's a sensitive topic. It's just on here to be discussed. I have no idea which way it'll wind up coming out.
Has that phase 4 have we put that out to bid, Joe?
Yeah, that's why we know that. So we knew as we got into bidding it out, the final phase here this year, that we had more work scoped than we thought we'd be able to accomplish with the money that was left. So Tim and the water department made some decisions about things that, in concert with our consultants, made some decisions about things that we could put into the bid as alternates, and those things amount to just under $600,000. We got the rest of the project in under bid or in at bid, but there's additionally, and I'll have Tim read you the details on that. But
When did we bid it? When did we put it out?
I believe it went out back in the spring, and we're ready to move forward with a lot of it. Includes some work on fire hydrants and things that we know that need to be replaced. We went through this about a year and a half ago. There's several fire hydrants in town that need to be replaced and stuff. So we're getting ready to start some of that work, but it'll take long enough time that we can always add in the alternates if we get funding for it.
All right. Any any questions or comments on any of these items that Joe's put up, or anything additional to that we need to put on the warrant that you can think of at the moment?
Is there a calendar? I'm looking at the agenda. Is there a calendar, a draft calendar for this?
There is. It's here, page down. It's the next page down. It's about a 2-page calendar of events for the special town meeting. And obviously with this, we were able to do this after you voted on the special town meeting date of November 14th and work back based on different deadlines. This calendar includes all of the planned selectmen and finance advisory committee meetings that will happen between now and the 14th date, as well as several other dates that will have impact on getting ready for the special town meeting. And
Joe, I'm sorry, but to clarify, you've mentioned 2 dates. You mentioned November 6th and then November 14th.
I didn't mean to mention,
What's-
I apologize. I didn't mean to mention November 6th. November 14th is the date that you approved.
That's what
the,
I thought. Okay, thank you.
If
Thank
I said
you.
the 6th, I misspoke. We've worked backwards from the November 14th date.
So if I can just back up just a second, with the warrant articles, since we just opened the warrant, we don't have to add or exclude anything tonight. So we can move on, and I can just say that if anybody has anything to add or comments on what we have there, want more clarification on those items, just reach out to Joe or myself and we can help with that. But since Darcy mentioned the calendar, we can just skip ahead to our next agenda item if that's all right with everybody. And if you haven't yet, just look over those dates. They look all pretty good, and then it's just sending it out to all the other boards and committees that are affected by it.
And it is a calendar, so some things will change as things come up or make things change. And as I said, we'll be meeting with the FinCom on the 19th. We'll be presenting this to them and asking for their input, but we did try to include all the existing meetings that we know about. This helps give them a frame of reference for when they need to conduct their meetings with different groups to make their recommendations. We do currently have it in here as the September 14th Board of Selectmen meeting to close the warrant. So.
Right. And so I guess if no one has any, I just saw a comment from Heather Ford saying the Capcom meeting on 8/18. And so you had a TBD on there for Capcom. So if you could.
Yep,
change that.
I did this before. I don't think this isn't a format that I can change it right now, but I will change that, Heather. I did this before Heather confirmed the meeting date for me. It's in my calendar for me to attend. I will get this in there before we present.
And then CPC, if you don't have that one already, Joe, I think we're typically the second Thursday of the month, so you could just probably punch that in there unless we have a meeting that's off our calendar. But I'd imagine it would probably be the same cadence.
Okay, so this meeting in November is the second Thursday of the month. Okay.
Yeah. And then the other one is just the FinCom and the Board of Selectmen to set the warrant and vote recommendations for 10/13. You've got a question mark on that, and we'll determine with the FinCom if that's feasible or not, I guess.
Right. I was holding that out there as to see whether you both boards wanted to vote on that and approve that as the date for joint meeting.
I think that's fine with us unless anybody has any say elsewise.
Are
So I
we
guess
voting tonight on this calendar?
We don't really have to vote on it. I mean, I don't think we have. We can approve it, but it can change unless somebody wants to approve it with it's just a draft, which is kind of
No.
we're trying to kind of bookmark stuff to get it for everybody. to kind
Vote, so I wasn't sure what the process was.
No, it's more than just a review of the draft calendar and I guess an update of it if we have any changes we want to make.
Okay.
So unless there's no more discussion about it, or if you do have something to add that you think that's missed, please send it to Joe or I, and we can add it in there. Otherwise, we can move on to the town manager goals. Or sorry, we can move on to the review of the draft calendar for annual budget prep and ATM, right? Is that the next one?
Well, it was on there, but I don't have it because we're messing around with the date. So I can't, again, these things kind of start with when is the meeting and certain things have to back up from there. So I've started to put it together, but I haven't filled it all out yet because I don't know what date you want to go with on the annual town meeting due to the fact that annual town meeting as scheduled by your bylaws would take place on Holy Saturday.
Right, and so we kind of, I can't remember what we had discussed last time, forgive me, but the 4th was the holiday. We discussed changing it to, I think was it the 14th?
The 10th.
10th,
I think it was the following Saturday.
The following Saturday was the 10th. I got an email from Gary Cheeseman from the Wenham BOS about May 1st. Is that right, Joe? Is that what I said to you today?
Yeah. He had said May 1st. So you normally by the bylaw, you would normally be the first Saturday in April. That would be April 3rd. That's Holy Saturday this year. So if the question was raised by the school committee actually several weeks ago, did the towns want to consider moving it? you both boards had discussed wanting to move it to the same day. The dates that you discussed at your last meeting were April 10th, because the 17th and the 24th of April are the first and last weekends of what was normally school vacation week, and you tend to potentially lose a lot of people that might show up. Then we did say that May 1st had been mentioned as a possibility, but the last time I had talked to folks in Wenham, they seemed to be backing away from that date. Now it seems they may be backing to that date. So I don't, but I think they're, if you can give them a sense of what your preference is, they may act on that, or they may not. I don't want to speak for them. So
To the gallery view instead of the screen.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any opinion here or there on the April 10th versus another? I think that those other two dates, the next weekend after the 10th and the weekend after that, I think are problematic because of the vacation or school vacation. And May 1st seems kind of pushed another month out. So I don't know what your opinions are. And so I'm looking for opinions, I guess.
April 4th, you said was the first opportunity?
April 10th would be the weekend after our original scheduled meeting.
Okay, so April 10th.
Yeah, the 4th is the Holy Saturday, and we were kind of back and forth on that a little bit. The 10th was open. The 17th and I think the 24th or something are the bookends of school vacation, and then you're into May 1st.
Yeah,
So,
in April.
right. I mean, I would just say April 10th. I mean, I don't think that's an issue for us. I don't know why Wenham is thinking May 1st, but maybe that's just Mr. Cheeseman saying May 1st. He just wrote me a brief email and said ATM May 1st question mark. So I'm not sure. He didn't give me any reasoning or anything like that. So
Well,
I know we kind of, sorry, I know we wanted to kind of coordinate a little bit with Wenham because we had talked about shutting down the fields in the towns and stuff like that so more people could attend, to try and coordinate that. But
can we tentatively tell Mr. Cheeseman that we're thinking of going with the 10th and see if they come on board?
yeah, we can go back and forth a little bit and see.
I'm okay with either April 10th or May 1st. I do agree that May 1st is a little bit late, but if that's when Wenham can do it, I don't have a problem with it.
And Joe, does it, I mean, I know with our bylaw, there, whatever with elections and stuff, but would we have a different situation?
So your town bylaws call for the election to be the following Thursday after the town meeting. So when you reset the town meeting, you'll reset the election day. That would be important for the town clerk to know. That would be important for the town of Wenham to know, because they'll have their own process that they have to follow regarding election date. I don't believe their language is set up in the same way in their bylaws. But if they want, but they typically have their election day the same day as us, and they typically have their annual town meetings the same day as us. So they'll need to be, a discussion amongst themselves of what they want to do with that. For these two towns, I know that May 1st is late, and I'm not proposing or urging you to go that way, but is actually the first Saturday in April is actually very early for what a lot of the other towns around you do. Most of them typically do May and even early June sometimes. So you've got plenty of time to play with in there as you see fit. I don't have a preference. I'll be there either way.
May be better as far as the virus goes? Would having it in May be a little bit more healthy?
Maybe.
It may be, it starts to die out.
Yeah.
Well, if we wind up in a situation where we have to do it outdoors again, I'd much rather do it on May 1st than on April 10th, because we're almost guaranteed to be rained on if we do it in April. I
Or a
think.
snowstorm.
Or snow, or something would be really hard to do outdoor tent open town meeting in April. That's for sure.
So maybe
Believe me, I've seen, I've stuck my selectmen, the lawn signs into piles of snow. Okay, yeah.
So, I mean, I guess that to Joe's point, and I know that a lot of towns do meet in the middle of May or even beginning of June for their AGMs. And plus the question of COVID and outdoor meetings and stuff, maybe May 1st is a better option for us. But if it's, I'll float by, I'll reach out to the chair and stuff in Wenham and say, we're thinking the 10th, but we wouldn't be opposed to May 1st, and give them the reasons that we just discussed, and see if we can kind of coordinate with that over the next month or so and figure it out. If that works for people, does that work? Okay. All right, then I guess our last item is town manager goals and discussion. So our town manager, Joe, is up for a contract negotiation or contract renewal in January, if I'm right. Is it January he's up?
Well, yeah, so by the terms of my contract,
It would have
you
to
have
give-
to, you have to notify me at least by January, I believe. It's not a thing that everybody loves to talk about, but, you know, in thinking ahead, you know, I do have a family. I want to make sure that I know, you know, where I stand with folks. So I'm hoping that we can set some goals, and I'm hoping that you'd be open to maybe starting that a little early. I've been here almost 2 years, and what I'd love to be back for another 3 years if you're all willing to have me back. But I think, you know, assessing where we've come and what needs to be done and what else I can work on, get better at, would be the first steps in that process. And I'm happy to have you all tell me how you envision seeing this process play out.
Right. So, I mean, I've had a few discussions with Joe about it, and part of the reason why we're kind of starting to discuss goals tonight is we've got some goals. You had it in the handout. There's a lot of kind of general goals that Joe has as far as operations and stuff like that, and financial management. But then we had some specific goals like the Patton Homestead, and what were some of the other ones that we had? Patton Homestead, the Chabaco Road Plan, the master plan, and town hall restoration. So in addition to those, I'd like to discuss some other kind of future goals, and I've discussed in past kind of a brainstorming session for some future goals for Joe. And I'd like to kind of think almost 3-year plan, since we're talking about renewing contract, and maybe think some longer term revenue streams, or thinking outside the box a little bit if we can, and task him to get some of these things started. I know the master plan, which was part of our ask at STM coming up, I think that's going to be probably a 1.5-year process is what it kind of usually takes. So that will definitely be one of his goals if all that passes at STM, and that will be kind of a longer term goal. And then following up on just not putting the document on the shelf, actually following with what we learned from the master plan and acting on it. So, you know, if you guys have anything that just pops into your head right now that you've thought of, you know, we have some projects that are ongoing that aren't in his goals, but I think they could probably be in his goals to wrap up. You know, we're kind of at the tail end of the cell phone tower. We're kind of the tail end of Amoresco with the solar array. But I think getting those on his goals in the next week or two here would be good, because we're going to be doing a review on him in October sometime is my hope. And if we can kind of see some progress or a wrapping up of some of those goals that we've put on there, that's going to, you know, help him and help us as far as guidance for him and some tracking for us on what we're expecting. Does that make sense to you guys? So if you have some ideas now, you can throw them out and we can jot them down, or if somebody wants to discuss anything, or if you want to think about it, all of the above.
Well, I want to do all of the above, but I also want to, I just have a suggestion, and it's because this is my first year on the board, and my 2+ years on the FinCom, I've had an opportunity to actually see how these ideas bubble up, and then we, you know, implement them, but then there's no oversight. And we've run into a lot of issues where, and it's not because of Joe, it's just because we don't have any oversight policies.
Mm-hmm.
For example, when the CDC not the CDC, it's the CPA money, right? CPC, okay. When they give out the money to private nonprofits and religious private nonprofits, we have absolutely no oversight. We have no control. We have no ability to look at what they're doing. It's unbelievable what they're allowed to get away with. And it's a new initiative. It's not something that we've been doing for years and years and years. And now I think we've had time to, it's played out, and I think we've seen where it's going. And I think we have to take the reins. We have to have some controls. We have to have some oversight. So I think that would be a great thing for us to think about, and for Joe to maybe, for example, the Board of Health, you know, he knows that we don't have the capacity to do what needs to be done. We don't have the bandwidth. We don't have the wherewithal. But he knows that if we got someone who could oversee, look forward, communicate, you know, be available to talk to us, I think we will prevent that money from flowing through our fingers like it's been doing with these private nonprofits and religious nonprofits. It's been really tough to watch. So that would be my suggestion.
Right. And I think to your point, Darcy, you know, maybe as a board, since we're the Board of Selectmen, we're the policymakers, right? So, you know, maybe we have an upcoming discussion and we could work it into somehow into Joe's goals, as well as some oversight policy for different boards and committees. Like you mentioned CPC and even Affordable Housing Trust, some type of Board of Selectmen policy, maybe even specifically for those two groups, or maybe it's an overall oversight policy. And
for every nonprofit, for every private nonprofit, perhaps, because right now you have all the money that we're handing out to private nonprofits, and we're starving. The town is starving. Now, wouldn't it be great if we could use almost all that money for the town hall and we don't have to raise our taxes instead of giving it away? I don't know. It just bothers me that we're giving away our money and not seeing a return on our investment when we have actual investments that we must make in this town, and we're giving the money away.
Darcy, I think a broader way to phrase that might be to say anytime town taxpayer money is involved, that there needs to be
oversight.
Really, really careful oversight.
Yes.
Accountability, transparency with a follow-through plan.
Part of the, you know, good government. It's all part of that.
And I think we have
trust. Let me just say, it's also about trust. The people have to trust us to be fiduciary agents for them. And fiduciary doesn't actually mean just keeping our eyes on the dollars. It means the townspeople understand the pros and cons. They understand what they're getting into, and they're full stakeholders. And that's what fiduciary means. It's not just counting the money and making sure it goes where it's about being open and advocating for the people.
All right, so maybe some oversight policy then, working with Joe and the board. Anybody have anything else?
I have something that's probably not nearly as big an issue as Darcy just discussed, but I would like to see the town really make a concerted effort to improve its communication with residents, specifically our website. I get emails pretty frequently from people who are frustrated that our website is not up to date. It's hard to find things. And I know this has been an ongoing issue. I know we've tried to work on it, but I would like to see us work on it in a more concerted way this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think
wrap social media into that whole thing too, right? So
yeah.
I agree.
When Michael was here, previous to Joe, we had our website updated, and our website won an award for being one of the better town websites. And frankly, to me, it's vastly improved, but it still has a lot of improvements that can be made to it. I mean, I think with our, we have a new minutes policy, and I think trying to find, I always want to be cautious about burden we put on staff, right? Because we've got a finite amount of people at town hall, and many of them are wearing many hats. I don't want to overburden them, but at the same time, improving the website with minutes and a searchable database, it's almost like we need some grantees or some interns or something like that. And I don't know how to go about that. So maybe our task to Joe for a goal could be search out some kind of a grant or an internship or something to help us with our records management as far as minutes and stuff like that, because I know when I search for minutes, sometimes it's daunting, you know,
Hard.
you don't have it right on the right thing. And, you know, we, with our minutes policy now, we have a certain type of a nomenclature that it's supposed to be under. So it's searchable, but previous to that, it's all over the place, and things get lost on our homepage with our kind of a stream that we have. So, you know, investing some money and or time in that, you know, would go a long ways to make it a lot more user friendly. You know, even though we won an award, we're not perfect, and I think we can improve it. So
Well, and the other,
communications and website improvement. Go ahead, Rosie.
right, that's what I was going to say. It sounds like it should be a comprehensive plan, and people are always frustrated that they can't find current events. It just should be a comprehensive thing. And I understand that we've got the Facebook page, we've got the town website. I can never find things. Thank God I'm a selectman. I'd never know what's going on in this town, which, you know, it's frustrating. And so any way we can work on that, I think would really help the town in general. So
I agree. I got a few things, Sean.
Yeah.
They're sort of outliers, but might as well have everything on the list and we can pare it down from there, right?
Yeah. Go on.
One of the things, sort of technology, right? So as we went through COVID and as we build a new town hall, I think we need to sort of always be looking ahead and not sort of reactive, but being proactive. So something in terms of making sure the town has the right technology, either in the new building or with these, or with these Zoom calls, and just make sure we have a sort of a global, I think we sort of set up individual ones for individual groups, but if we could have some sort of global technology oversight of how the town hall runs, how our meetings run, I think that could sort of leverages on the Facebook and the social media, but I think we should sort of, take a bigger picture look at technology that we use within the town.
Right. And Joe, the question for you kind of related to that is, we started this paperless initiative. It hasn't, we've started it, but it hasn't started really.
Right.
We're waiting for town hall monies and improvements to happen.
So
Do
actually,
we have a specific vendor or program or anything like that, or we're just saying we're going paperless right now?
no, we're looking at a company called Laserfiche, and that's actually the name of the software. There's a local vendor. The name of the local vendor escapes me right now. And there's a secondary product that we also reviewed, and so part of it will come out in the there'll be twofold. Part of it will come out in how we go out to procure it, and it'll also be tied into what some of our neighbors are doing. So, I think I've updated you in the past that the town, since last year, has been involved in a regional IT initiative with Danvers, Essex, Wenham, a bunch. There's like 10 towns, Middleton, Topsfield, and we're staying engaged with them. So what we're doing is that anytime we're going to look to buy a new software, such as Laserfiche or something that would be able to take all of our documents and make them web documents and be able to do those things online. Anytime we do that, we want to make sure that what we're doing is going to be compatible with what our neighbors are doing. We do know that several of the partners in the region do use Laserfiche. So for that reason, we have a preference for that. It's usable, it's highly functional, it's very user-friendly. And the problem is trying to do both current operating needs meet current operating needs, and sorry about that, guys. Meet current operating needs, and also get all old files eventually scanned and copied so that we can have them at hand and have them more searchable in the future. So Laserfiche, the other brand, would both do the same thing. We just need to determine what the cost is and how we procure it. We're in the middle of that. Actually, Pat Shannon's been a big help with that. He's actually been researching IT grants and things through the state's Community Compact program as well to see if we can access that money. As you can tell, it's a big deal here tonight. My youngest son turned 10, so we've got people in and out wishing him his happy 10th birthday. So, so that is a project that Pat Shannon has dove into with both feet and both hands, and has already taken it a lot further than I was able to take it before he joined us. So I appreciate his efforts there. I hope to have something ready for annual town meeting to be approved at annual town meeting. If everything goes properly with if everything goes as we hope with the town hall building project in the fall, we'll be doing stuff to get that ready, and then we can start the process of scanning, converting to Laserfiche type documents and things, web documents, while we're out of the town hall building. And so when we move back in, we hopefully line everything up and have it all together. So
No, I think
we
it's
are
no,
working on it. We're trying to time it all properly.
I think it's good. I think it's a bunch of things. It's that it's our virtual technology, it's our new technology within town hall, and the clickers is part of that. Having the electronic voting stuff. So I think it's
Right.
all wrapped into that. So I think it's all good.
Yeah.
Another one I had is obviously the Gordon Conwell situation, right? So we don't really have control of it, but it's taking control of that as it moves through its next steps and making sure that we leverage the town in the best position or whatever happens there.
Right. We
Um,
need to have a seat at that table.
Yeah, exactly. I think the water hasn't really been on your goal, but it's always sort of been a goal, but I don't know why it shouldn't be written in, but we've done a pretty good job of, getting our water system where we need it to be for the next 20 to 30 years. So I think within the next couple of years, we should get there, but I think that's a goal within the next couple of years that we sort of finish all the, I think the next couple, you're going to finish, get the improvements to the water, plant, as well as as all of our lines within town. So that should be a goal. You sort of see that project come to completion. And then I think just to recognize, I think what also wasn't necessarily a goal, but I think to recognize what you've done is when Darcy and Rosemary came on, they sort of made a comment about less litigation in this town, right? More consensus, less. And I don't think we've had really any, knock on wood here, but I think you've done a good job. You got new town council brought in. I think we've done a good job communicating. I think so I think it's continuing on that challenge of sort of being once again proactive and staying ahead of it, so we don't get our town into any litigation issues.
Do me a favor, knock on wood when you say that. Okay? I think that we've all been doing a good job. I appreciate no town council. I don't think it's just town council. I think it's kind of the general working atmosphere that we have established here in the last 18 months or so. But you can only work and collaborate with people as long as the people on the other side want to work and collaborate with you. So I don't want to jinx us. I don't want to say that it's not going to happen. We're trying to avoid that as much as possible. Yes.
But I think that's a goal that you've been working on in the background, and we should just recognize that that's been successful. So, and only other thing I had is just to mention it, and once again, it's on the bottom of the list. But we are going to need a third cell phone tower in this town. We don't want it to be another big issue. So we should start being proactive again, thinking about what that third site looks like, and us once again being in the driver's seat of that, being in the seat of the table, so it doesn't happen and create other issues for us. So, but we know technology wise, we're going to have more technology as driverless cars happen and others, technology happens. We need to have better service in town. So, part of the technology thing, but just staying ahead of it. That's all I had.
Can I jokingly say that if you want me to get another cell tower, I want a 5-year contract?
Hey,
I don't know if you're joking.
And a big raise.
Yeah. I'll add one
Sean,
thing.
what is the you can say one thing, but you can walk through the process again of is the agreement already determined? We have the chance now to sort of renew it, or do we have to write a whole new agreement? I thought the agreement was already sort of written with an extension. How's that work?
With Joe.
Yeah, with Joe. Yeah.
With me?
Yeah. Is it a whole new agreement we have to write, or is it just
No,
extend it?
I think, it'd be a new contract. We'd probably both look at it, see if there's any things we want to adjust. I've got some things that once you tell me that you want to start negotiating, we can talk. But I'm fine with the basic framework of the contract I have. I'm not looking. I want to come here, do good work. I want us to accomplish things together. I want the town to feel like we're being successful. I'm not crazy, so.
It's a renewal / negotiation. It is with any contract. Once you open it, all things are on the table. So
All things on the table. Okay. All right. John, you were gonna add something. Sorry.
yeah, just the one thing I'll add, and I wrote it down so I didn't forget. I guess. I have a gazillion of them, and I'll share them. But the one that I'll think of right now, just in Bill said something that made me think of it, was just our downtown improvements. I know our former chair, Jeff, was always really big on downtown improvements and stuff like that. And I would say we had a charrette, and I think MAPC came in and we did some kind of downtown planning or a visioning plan for downtown. I'd like to work towards some of that. I don't think we can accomplish all of it overnight, but I think we can accomplish like kind of elephant small bites at a time kind of thing.
We didn't talk about even parking. We talked about looking at the park. We talked about it, but dropped off, right? So.
Talked about Russ with parking, and with everything going on, that kind of fell off. But I see simple things such as just village branding, and simple, but it's a cost thing. Is our sidewalks downtown are horrendous. Over the years, we've had to basically grind them down so they're level again, so people aren't tripping and falling on them. So some downtown improvements and kind of looking at that visioning plan for downtown and seeing what we can accomplish. We don't want to spend $10 million down there in a year, but what can we accomplish with what we have and within our budget and some capital planning? So I'll just put kind of downtown improvement in general on the list. And I think with a lot of these things we're mentioning tonight, some of the items like to Bill's one with technology and stuff, when we get to actually putting these goals concrete, we need to have some somewhat specifics on what we're looking for instead of just saying technology improvement. It should be
Right.
this to the website, this to the records thing, this to the other thing, so that we're not just giving him a general overview, we're giving him some direction and a concrete thing to accomplish for us. So that's kind of it. Jamie, do you have anything to add?
I really, I have thoughts in my head that I'll probably get in trouble for if I say right now. And I, just because I'm so new to this.
And you can email me too with them if you want, and I'll put my foot in my mouth. So
yeah.
I'll put your foot in my mouth, whatever.
But the process, John, so we usually would get together for like a Saturday morning. Sure, is that what you're thinking? Like,
yeah. So
just
I'm
Saturday
thinking
morning
we
Zoom
just
or
kind of
something like
spit
that,
all
or-
over tonight to kind of get the creative juices flowing, I guess, or the gold juices flowing, and then I think if it's all right with everybody, we would add another meeting that's more kind of like a workshop, and we sit down and we talk about these more specifically and add what other ones we didn't think of now, and then also some of these, when we've done it in the past, we've kind of thought of everything at once, and then we categorize them and prioritize them. And some we realize are pie in the sky, or some are ones that we can accomplish as selectmen as far as policy writing and different things like that. Or somebody has a kind of a pet project that they kind of want to take on, like Rosie, you had trees last year. That could be a goal for you this coming year too, if you wanted to. Some things like that that we want to do individually to kind of help everybody around and help Joe as well be successful. And then I would expect Joe to kind of do the same, to add ideas for himself to it. We always want input from him to show that he's got some chutzpah, he wants to accomplish some goals himself, or what he sees for visioning for the future for him in town. So Jamie, I didn't mean to cut you off and talk for 10 minutes, but if you have anything to add, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah. No, I don't think I'll add anything right now.
Okay. Food for thought then.
May I make a motion?
Yeah.
Yes.
I make a motion that we adjourn for the evening, and we also wish Drew a happy 10th birthday.
Yes. And
Happy birthday.
And anybody want to second that?
Second.
And I won't talk new business because I think we have a bunch, but please email me with goal ideas, and I'll kind of compile them. And then at our next meeting, let's talk about kind of another side meeting, or I can even email out before then.
I'd be in favor if we could figure out a way to do it, socially distant, but in person. If it's inside, outside, each have a table. I can think of a couple buildings in town. We could each, it's only 7 of us in the room. We should be able to, 6 or 7 of us in the room. We should be able to figure out a way to do it. But
let's want to do it at the Homestead. Can we do it at the Homestead, Joe? Let's do it at the Homestead. So let's have Joe kind of see feasibility at the Homestead, and then we'll figure out a date and time when we can all get together. Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
Perfect.
Okay.
right.
So motion has been made and seconded, correct?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All those in favor, we'll start with Rosie.
Rosie Kennedy, aye.
Bill?
William Olson, now you're pointing at me, but I don't know who you're pointing at.
You're over here. And then I got Jamie here. Jamie?
Jamie, aye.
And then Darcy's over here.
Darcy Gale, aye.
And then myself, Sean Farrell, aye. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Joe, for
Good night,
for
everybody.
joining us.